It's over 70,000 to see quarterback rivals Tom Brady and Joe Montana. Quick drop, Brady throws to the end zone. Touchdown to Kyle Brady. Montana drops, throws down the left sideline. Intercepted by Samuel. The game clincher. What a drive delivered by Miami. Miami in overtime knocks off Oakland 15-9. Off the eye, deep drop far, scans the field, shoots it deep, and he's got Freeman who breaks a tackle. Antonio Freeman is gone. Touchdown, Green Bay. Some incredible football games last week, and we pick up week 2 in Denver as the Chicago Bears go up against a man who retired as the winningest quarterback in NFL history, John Elway, of all players. Jim McMahon throwing a potential game-tying touchdown to Galt, who loses the ball, and Glenn Cadres recovers in the end zone. The Broncos preserve a 7-0 lead, then add to it on the very next play. Slant from Elway to Terrell Davis, 80-yard touchdown, and the Broncos expand to a 17-0 lead against an awful Bears defense, last against the pass. Go figure in the DSFL 4. McMahon sacked here by Williams on the final possession for Chicago in the ballgame. Bears downed, and a shutout against the Broncos. Denver splitting their first 2 home games with a 17-0 victory in Denver. In a battle of surprising unbeatens, Baltimore visits Kansas City, and Earl Morrall, who had launched 2 touchdowns of the contest, fires an 85-yard scoring strike to Jimmy Orr, the 11-year man from Wake Forest. Then a second to Willie Richardson at the back line of the end zone. The Colts up 14-0 late fourth quarter. Len Dawson on the board for Kansas City, a 4-yard TD toss to Frank Pitts. The Chiefs quarterback, however, 37% completions, is at an awful year throwing the ball. Jen Stenerud of Kansas City to try and save the day with an onside kick. It's recovered by the diving Ray Perkins, and Baltimore wins the game. The Colts, 2 road wins to begin the season, will host Washington next week. Kansas City 1-1 off the loss, 14-7 with the offense sputtering throughout the contest. This Pittsburgh Steelers offense last week was the worst in football. 67 yards and 11% on third down. Hard to slice it any worse than that. And they weren't much better in the first half of this game. Franco Harris taken down in the end zone for a safety of Roderick Coleman. And Oakland at the half leads Pittsburgh 2-0. In the third quarter, Chuck Noll's Steelers, just as they almost always do, they would respond following the deficit. A gain of 25 yards to John Stallworth. Then Franco Harris would conclude the red zone trip with a touchdown of 6 yards. Steelers up 10-2 in the fourth quarter. Terry Bradshaw to conclude this game with a critical fourth quarter drive. 13-yard hookup to Swan. And to ice the game, Bradshaw throws into the arms of Eric Barton, the 4-year linebacker out of Maryland, keeps the Raiders in the ballgame. Bradshaw 5 interceptions this season. Raiders a chance to tie it at 10. A completion of 6 yards on third down to Tim Brown. Then on a 1st and 10, Rich Gannon goes deep. A better route run from Jerry Rice is a touchdown, but it's a gain of 33. Donnie Shell saves the game-tying score. Then Gannon on 3rd and goal. He is taken down by Steve Furness, a huge sack for the Steelers. Then on 4th and goal, this is for the game. Rich Gannon going long. He throws to the end zone, and the pass is incomplete. The Steelers have overcome a league-high 5 turnovers this season as Pittsburgh calls back to 500. Raiders have been dealt 2 tough losses to begin the DSFL 4. Arguably the 2 greatest offenses of all time meet at the Hubert H. Humphrey Metrodome in Minneapolis. Randall Cunningham, by the numbers, the 2nd greatest scrambling quarterback of all time. And he begins the ball game midway second quarter with a 51-yard bomb to the performer of the week. That's Randy Moss. The rookie out of Marshall gives the Vikings the 7-0 lead, but Roger Craig responds. A 3-yard touchdown run. The Niners tie the game. In the third quarter, Vikings up by a field goal. Off the play action, Montana intercepted by Ed McDaniel, the linebacker out of Clemson, to secure the game. Robert Griffith out of San Diego State picks off Montana. He has thrown 4 interceptions this season as Griffith returns 51 yards for the Minnesota touchdown. No touchdowns for Montana as well this season for the 49ers. San Francisco, a somewhat easy schedule on paper as they will host the 0-2 Raiders next week. Minnesota dismantles San Francisco 27-10. It's well documented that the Miami Dolphins of 1972 went undefeated, but few bring up in Miami that they only played 2 regular season opponents above a 500 record, and those clubs were 8-6. The near-perfect team against the perfect team takes as much as a 10-0 lead as Brady fires a touchdown to Moss in the final seconds of the half. It's their first TD connection this year. They had 23 of those in 2007. In the fourth quarter, with the struggling Miami offense down by 10, here's Greasy, who completes a 3rd and 14 to Jim Mandich, the tight end of the Michigan, who has had a great start to the season. Then Greasy for a 36-yard gain to Twilly, but on 4th and 11, the game on the line, Greasy's throw to the end zone is incomplete. Patriots continue this run of unbeatens as they play the Vikings next week in Foxborough. The Patriots are 2-0. The 2013 Seahawks were more than just the Legion of Boom. Marshawn Lynch, the veteran running back from Cal, would rip off a 55-yard run to begin the game. 105 yards this season for the outstanding running back to rank 4th in the NFL. Then with a 3-0 lead, the Seahawks defense would give up a 2-yard scoring gallop to Edgar Bennett, and Green Bay's got the lead 7-3 at the break. In the third quarter, Seahawks drive with Russell Wilson, who is hit and harassed seemingly the entire day, goes down by the linebacker Brian Williams. He is out and would not return. Fourth quarter led by the 7-year quarterback Tavares Jackson, who would have solid career numbers going into this contest. Jackson would scramble for 2 first downs to put Seattle in the red zone. However, on 1st and 10, Jackson going backwards is taken down by Williams again, his 3rd sack of the contest. And on 4th and 34, this is for the game, Tavares Jackson sacked by Reggie White. And the Packer defense, which dismantled that Seattle offensive line with 7 quarterback sacks, really by themselves, Green Bay's defense won the game 7-3. Well, there wasn't much defense played in this game between St. Louis and Washington at RFK Stadium in Washington, D.C. Marshall Faulk begins the contest with a 72-yard scoring run, a dazzling display of athleticism for Faulk, and a 7-0 lead led by the Hall of Famer. The replacement from San Diego State, the rookie Justin Watson, will score for the Rams as well on a 14-yard TD run. Then a direct snap to Ernie Conwell would convert a 4th and 2. Head coach Dick Vermeil with trickery and a shutout win for St. Louis against the league's worst defense in the Washington Redskins. The Dream Season Football League 4 is a league to determine the greatest team in the history of the NFL. Just 10 weeks determine the 8 playoff spots of the DSFL 4, and some teams have already emerged from the rest off to a great start. Week 3 is coming up next. This has been the DSFL 4 with Charger Dude 95.